Hey everybody, and welcome back to my kitchen. You know, folks always ask me, what's the most delicious thing you've ever eaten? Well, bless their hearts, they obviously ain't never had my mama's sweet potato pie. Today we're taking a trip down south to North Carolina to whip up some of my favorite comfort food classics. Get your aprons ready, because we're about to have a rootin' tootin' good time in the kitchen. First up, we're gonna make some flaky, buttery biscuits. These aren't just any biscuits. They're the kind that melt in your mouth and make you feel like you're right at home in the South. The kind that your grandma used to make on Sunday mornings, filling the house with that irresistible aroma. Now, the secret to a good biscuit is cold ingredients. This is crucial, folks. Cold butter and cold buttermilk are what give these biscuits their signature flakiness and tender crumb. When the cold butter melts in the oven, it creates little pockets of steam, making the biscuits rise beautifully. That's right, y'all, straight from the fridge. You want everything as cold as possible. This might seem like a small detail, but trust me, it makes all the difference. We're talking cold butter, cold buttermilk, even cold hands if you got them. If your kitchen is warm, you might even want to chill your mixing bowl and utensils. Every little bit helps to keep that dough cold. Now, we don't want to overwork our dough. Just a few gentle folds, and we're good to go. Overworking the dough can make the biscuits tough, and we want them to be light and fluffy. So, handle the dough with care, like you're cradling a newborn baby. Cut them out nice and thick and pop those babies in the oven. Make sure your oven is preheated to a high temperature, around 425 degrees Fahrenheit. This high heat will help the biscuits rise quickly and develop a beautiful golden crust. While those are baking, let's get started on our sausage gravy. This gravy is the perfect complement to our biscuits, rich and creamy with just the right amount of spice. Now, this ain't no time for that store-bought stuff. We're making it from scratch, just like they do down south. Trust me, once you taste homemade sausage gravy, you'll never go back to the canned version. We're gonna make it from scratch with breakfast sausage, creamy milk, and a whole lot of love. Start by browning the sausage in a skillet. You want it to be nice and crispy, with all those little bits of flavor sticking to the bottom of the pan. Brown that sausage up real nice, sprinkle in some flour, and whisk in that milk until it's smooth and creamy. The flour helps to thicken the gravy, while the milk makes it rich and luscious. Keep whisking until there are no lumps and the gravy has a silky texture. Season it up with salt, pepper, and a pinch of cayenne if you like a little kick. You can also add some crushed red pepper flakes or a dash of hot sauce if you want to turn up the heat. Taste as you go and adjust the seasoning to your liking. By now, our biscuits should be golden brown and ready for their gravy bath. They should be puffed up and golden, with a crisp exterior and a tender, flaky interior. Let them cool for just a minute before you handle them, but not too long. You want to serve them warm. Split them open, pile on that sausage goodness, and get ready for a taste of heaven. The combination of the buttery, flaky biscuits and the rich, savory gravy is pure comfort food at its finest. Serve them up with a side of scrambled eggs or some fresh fruit, and you've got yourself a breakfast that's sure to impress. Next up, we're frying up some green tomatoes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Green tomatoes? They ain't ripe yet. Well, that's the beauty of it. Green tomatoes have a tangy, slightly tart flavor that's just perfect for frying. Slice them up nice and thick, dredge them in some seasoned cornmeal, and get ready for a taste sensation. We're talking crispy on the outside, juicy on the inside, and bursting with flavor. These little beauties are best served hot and fresh out of the fryer, so grab yourself a napkin and get ready to dig in. Now let's talk a bit more about these green tomatoes. You might be wondering why we use unripe tomatoes for this dish. The reason is simple. Their firm texture holds up beautifully when fried, and their tartness adds a unique flavor that ripe tomatoes just can't match. Start by washing your green tomatoes thoroughly. You want to make sure they're clean and free of any dirt or pesticides. Once they're clean, slice them into thick rounds. About a 1/4 inch thick is perfect. Next, prepare your seasoned cornmeal. You can use plain cornmeal, but adding a bit of salt, pepper, and maybe some paprika or cayenne pepper will really elevate the flavor. Dredge each tomato slice in the seasoned cornmeal, making sure they're well coated on all sides. Heat some oil in a frying pan over medium-high heat. You want the oil to be hot enough that a drop of water sizzles when it hits the surface. Carefully place the tomato slices in the hot oil. Be sure not to overcrowd the pan. You want each slice to have plenty of room to fry up nice and crispy. Fry the tomatoes for about 2-3 minutes on each side or until they're golden brown and crispy. Once they're done, remove them from the pan and place them on a paper towel to drain any excess oil. Arrange the fried green tomatoes on a plate and get ready to serve. These fried green tomatoes are delicious on their own, but if you want to take them to the next level, serve them with a dipping sauce. A simple remoulade or ranch dressing works great. Dip a fried green tomato into the sauce and take a bite. The combination of the crispy, tangy tomato and the creamy sauce is absolutely irresistible. Whether you're serving these as an appetizer, a side dish, or just a snack, they're sure to be a hit with everyone. So there you have it, a classic Southern dish that's simple to make and incredibly satisfying. Enjoy your fried green tomatoes. Chapter 3. Now, it wouldn't be a Southern feast without some mouth-watering pulled pork BBQ. This dish is a staple in Southern cuisine, known for its rich flavors and tender meat that practically melts in your mouth. It's a dish that brings people together, whether it's for a family gathering, a summer cookout, or a casual weeknight dinner. We're talking slow-cooked pork shoulder, slathered in a tangy vinegar-based sauce. The key to this dish is patience and the right combination of spices and ingredients that make the pork shoulder incredibly flavorful and tender. First things first, we gotta season that pork. This step is crucial because it sets the foundation for all of the flavors that will develop during the cooking process. We're talking salt, pepper, the basics that every good BBQ starts with. Then we add paprika for a bit of smokiness, garlic powder for depth, and onion powder to round out the flavors, and a touch of brown sugar for sweetness. This not only balances the tanginess of the vinegar, but also helps to create a beautiful caramelized crust on the pork as it cooks. Rub that seasoning all over that pork and get ready to let it mingle. Make sure every inch of that pork shoulder is covered in the seasoning mix. Now, we're gonna pop that pork in a slow cooker with some chicken broth and apple cider vinegar. The chicken broth adds moisture and richness, while the apple cider vinegar brings that signature tangy flavor. Put that lid on tight and let it cook low and slow for about 8 hours, or until the meat is fall apart tender. This slow cooking process allows the flavors to meld together and the meat to become incredibly tender. Once that pork is cooked, it's time to shred it up. This is where the magic happens, as the meat is so tender it practically falls apart with just a touch. Use 2 forks, your hands, whatever you gotta do to get that meat nice and shredded. The goal is to have fine, even shreds that will soak up all the delicious sauce. Then, we're gonna toss it in our tangy vinegar-based sauce. This sauce is what sets Carolina pulled pork apart from other BBQ styles. This sauce is a Carolina classic, tangy, spicy, and oh so addictive. It's made with a blend of vinegar, spices, and a touch of sweetness, creating a perfect balance that complements the rich pork. Pile that pulled pork high on some soft buns, add your favorite toppings, and get ready for a taste of the South. Whether you like it with coleslaw, pickles, or just plain, this pulled pork sandwich is sure to be a hit. The combination of the tender, flavorful pork with the tangy sauce and soft bun is simply irresistible. So, gather your friends and family and enjoy this Southern classic together. Chapter 4. Now, no Southern meal is complete without a side of hush puppies. These little bites of heaven are crispy on the outside, soft and fluffy on the inside, and oh so addictive. We're going to start with a simple batter of cornmeal, flour, sugar, baking powder, and a little salt. Whisk in some eggs, milk, and melted butter, and stir until everything is just combined. Now here's the secret ingredient, a spoonful of finely chopped onion. It adds a subtle sweetness and depth of flavor that you just can't beat. Heat up some oil in a cast iron skillet, drop spoonfuls of batter into the hot oil, and fry until golden brown and crispy. Serve them up hot and fresh with a side of your favorite dipping sauce. The dipping sauce can be anything you like, from a tangy remoulade to a spicy sriracha mayo. The joy of biting into a perfectly fried hush puppy is something everyone should experience. Let's take a closer look at the ingredients. Cornmeal is the star of the show, giving hush puppies their signature texture. Measure out your cornmeal, flour, and sugar carefully to get the perfect balance of flavors. Don't forget the baking powder and a pinch of salt to bring everything together. Whisk all the dry ingredients together until they're well combined. Now, it's time to add the wet ingredients. Eggs, milk, and melted butter will make the batter rich and smooth. Mix everything until you have a smooth, lump-free batter. Finely chop your onions. This is what gives hush puppies their unique flavor. Add the chopped onions to the batter and mix them in well. Heat up some oil in a cast iron skillet. The oil needs to be hot enough to fry the batter quickly. Drop spoonfuls of batter into the hot oil. Be careful not to overcrowd the skillet. Fry the hush puppies until they're golden brown and crispy on the outside. Remove them from the oil and let them drain on paper towels to remove excess oil. Serve them hot and fresh, and watch them disappear in no time. Pair them with your favorite dipping sauce for an extra burst of flavor. There's nothing quite like the satisfaction of biting into a perfectly fried hush puppy. Hush puppies are the perfect side dish for any Southern meal. They bring people together and add a touch of Southern charm to any gathering. So next time you're planning a meal, don't forget to include these little bites of heaven. Chapter 5. Last but not least, we're going to end our Southern feast with a classic sweet potato pie. This dessert is a staple in many Southern homes, especially during the holidays. It's a dish that brings everyone together, creating memories that last a lifetime. This pie is near and dear to my heart, and it always reminds me of home. The aroma of sweet potatoes roasting in the oven, mixed with the spices, takes me back to my childhood. It's a recipe that's been passed down through generations in my family. We're going to start with a flaky, buttery pie crust. The crust is the foundation of any great pie, and getting it just right is key. The texture should be light and crisp, providing the perfect base for our sweet potato filling. You can use store-bought if you're short on time, but there's nothing quite like a homemade crust. Making your own crust allows you to control the ingredients and ensure it's as fresh as possible. Plus, the process of rolling out the dough can be quite therapeutic. For the filling, we're going to roast some sweet potatoes until they're soft and tender. Roasting the sweet potatoes brings out their natural sweetness and enhances their flavor. It's important to choose sweet potatoes that are firm and free of blemishes for the best results. Then we're going to mash them up with butter, sugar, eggs, spices, and a touch of vanilla extract. The combination of these ingredients creates a rich and creamy filling that's perfectly balanced. The spices, like cinnamon and nutmeg, add warmth and depth to the pie. Pour that sweet potato goodness into our pie crust and bake it in the oven until it's set and golden brown. The baking process allows the flavors to meld together and the crust to become beautifully crisp. Keep an eye on the pie as it bakes to ensure it doesn't overcook. Let it cool completely before slicing and serving. Cooling the pie allows it to set properly, making it easier to slice and serve. The anticipation of that first bite is part of the experience, and trust me, it's worth the wait. Trust me, y'all, this pie is worth the wait. Each bite is a taste of Southern tradition, filled with love and history. Whether you're sharing it with family or enjoying a slice on your own, sweet potato pie is a true comfort food that brings joy to any occasion. Well, y'all, there you have it. 5 of my all-time favorite Southern recipes from the great state of North Carolina. From flaky biscuits and gravy to sweet and savory pulled pork, these recipes are sure to please everyone at your table. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And be sure to subscribe to my channel for more delicious recipes and Southern hospitality. I post new videos 3 times a week, so be sure to check back soon. Until next time, y'all stay sweet.